Number 5, everybody must craft their own style of betting. And this is something that I feel very strongly about, but there is a caveat to this because there's caveats in sports betting. And I'm going to tell you about the caveat later, right? But number 5 is basically own style. Now, you might have gone on my BetMMA.tips record prior, right? And you might see that I'm profitable in basically every odds range and every type of bet. Straight bet, parlay bet, prop bet. But I wasn't always like this. And still to this day, there's certain type of bets that I'm not good at. Not specifically bet, straight, and parlay. I'm good at all of them. But within the prop bets, maybe certain things I'm not good at, like unders or overs or whatnot. But I wasn't always good at this, right? I started off being good at a specific aspect of betting on fights. And then gradually over the years, I became an all-round bettor and I got good at everything. But I still have my certain niches that I'm extremely good at. Parlays, for example. We'll get into them a little bit later because I do want to touch on them because there's a big misconception around parlays in MMA and the gambling world in general. But I'm very good on parlays. I'm still extremely high level on parlays. I'm actually better on parlays than I am at every other type of bet. And I always was decent at parlays. I mean, not always was decent, but parlays was always kind of like a natural tendency for me. And you're going to find this, that no matter how many times you look at my BetMMA.tips, no matter how many times you try and replicate my success or somebody else's success, it will never work as good for you as it does for them. And there's a reason for that. We all have a natural tendency when it comes to MMA betting or gambling in general. We all have our own style. There's always going to be things that you do better than somebody else. So the best thing that you can do is not listen to dogmatic approaches when people tell you, you should never bet on women's MMA. You should never make a parlay. You should never bet chalky fighters. People are always going to tell you these things and it's going to get in your head. The best thing you can do is craft your own style based on the data that you record. Analyze your data, see what you're good at, understand yourself, self-awareness, and make your own style around that. This is so important, guys. Number 5 is so important. If you don't do this, you're forever going to be chasing your tail. You're going to be trying to double down and make money in areas that you're just not naturally good at. And what it's going to do, which is something that's never spoken about in betting, not for the most part, is that it's going to eat away at you mentally because you're not making the progress you believe you should have based on other people's opinions. And what that does is slowly grinds you away. It makes you make bad decisions. It increases your stress. And we've only got so much stress tolerance. Gambling is a mental game as much as it is a skill game. And to be honest, it's way more a mental game, right? So you have to protect your mental. And it's a long explanation, but actually, this, if you don't stick to this, it's gonna fuck your mentality, man, and you ain't gonna be able to get better at anything else, and you ain't gonna be able to do the other 9 principles if you don't do this one. Now, I'm gonna tell you a caveat to this, right? So, I do believe very strongly that honing your own style in MMA betting is the way to go. But while I also believe that, I don't believe that you should only bet to your own style and never ever try to attempt to do anything else, right? But, and I'm going to mention that in the next point, but hammer this point home one last time. Develop your own style. Find what you're good at, double down on it, and earn more profits.